Broadcasting live from the game trail on the plain of Innistrad, this is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. Graham here.
Cameron here.
Alex here.
And today, very exciting, today we're going to be talking about the Community Super League, the CSL, the last 3 weeks of regular competition of the CSL, and Eternal Masters? Why did I say that? I was playing an Eternal Masters sealed last night.
Eternal Masters.
Eldritch Moon spoilers. There's 4 spoilers out.
Oh boy.
And we're gonna talk about those. We'll probably talk about those before CSL, I think.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe.
But
I don't
before
know.
even
Who knows?
that.
But before even that, Alex has this giant D20 he's gonna fling across the floor.
No whammies.
And
Goodbye.
it's gonna come up with
8. Whit.
Wheat?
6. Oh.
What is it?
ooh,
Unhinged.
Unhinged.
Oh, wow.
Come
Very
on,
nice.
basics.
Yeah, actually.
This was given to us by David at PAX East. Thank you so much, David. With the paper.
Do you think
booster
they'll ever
pack.
do another parody set?
Rosewater's been saying that he wants to, and I'm positive it will happen at some point. So for those who didn't know what Unhinged and then the follow-up Unglued were, they were comedy sets, and they're great. I like them. They're silver bordered, except for the basic lands, which are in every pack.
Wait, every pack?
Every pack is a basic.
What?
If it's an island, that's the tech.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our first card is Standing Army. It's a 2/4 human soldier for 2 white. As long as you are standing, Standing Army has vigilance.
Like literally standing.
Yeah.
These are. I feel like I've drawn a lot of inspiration from this set for the opening cards on
Friday nights. Yeah.
Or-
I think this immediately tells you everything you need to know about the set. As long as you, the player, are physically standing, this card has vigilance.
This is the set where overheard at a tournament was in response I take off my pants.
I believe so.
Because their Minotaur had denim walk.
yeah. Herloon Wrangler.
In response, I take off my pants.
Yeah.
That Minotaur's ass is making me uncomfortable.
Different set, that was Unglued.
Oh, okay.
But still the unsaid.
Yeah.
What do we got next?
Next up is Flassify. 2 and a blue, instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3.5.
3.5.
And then they've got flavor text from a different card pasted over top.
Don't worry about it. It happens to every mage sooner or later.
Classify.
Womp womp.
Next up is Badass. 2 black for a donkey zombie. 3.5 1.
3.5 power.
So Unhinged had a couple different mechanics. Halves, like half costs and half stats.
So like the card Little Girl that costs half a white mana and is a 1/2.
Yep. And donkeys.
Oh yeah, donkeys is a
Because
tribe.
Unglued had chickens
Right.
all through the set. And this one has
Mutavault
donkeys.
is a donkey.
Yeah, Mutavault is a donkey.
It's
so,
also a child.
Badass also has the ability for 1 and a black and Growl, regenerate Badass. He wanders the land in search of good ass.
Oh, God damn it.
This is another thing that they did with the artwork in this set was
Breaking the...
breaking the frame.
Yeah.
In some cards,
In almost all of the
literally
cards.
breaking the frame.
Yep.
Or setting it on fire, as in our next card, Touch and Go. 3 and a red, sorcery. Destroy target land. And then it has
This is a keyword.
Gotcha mechanic, which is whenever an opponent touches his or her face, you may say, Gotcha. If you do, return Touch and Go from your graveyard to your hand.
Wow.
Judges ruling the interior of the face still counts as the face, so a nose pick is legitimate grounds for saying Gotcha.
Jeez. There was, I think Gotcha has a couple different ones, like Stop That.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the Gotcha is whenever your opponent flicks their cards, you can return it to your hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next up is Graphic Violence. Art was also a mechanic in this one. 2 and a green, instant. All creatures by the artist of your choice get +2/+2 and trample until end of turn. Warning, the Dominarian Surgeon General has found that savage beatings can lead to chump blocks, life reduction, and even game loss. So yeah, artists was a mechanic in Unhinged as
Yeah,
well.
there's, oh man.
Specifically relating to
Oh!
fascist art director. 1 white for a 2/2 human horror. For white and white, fascist art director gains protection from the artist of your choice until end of
That's
turn.
pretty strong.
With the flavor text pinned to the card. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Cranford, after careful analysis of Jeremy's vocational testing, I feel he is best suited for a career in either torture or art direction. Looking out the window is prohibited today.
That's good.
I'm just reading all those things in the background.
This is exactly what Magic R&D looks like.
Kissing the art director's posterior keeps you alive. I said no skulls.
No skulls.
A-list artists. Artists who do exactly what, as I say, get on the list and might even get to eat.
Oh, man. Okay, I was just looking at the comments on this card on Gather.
On Gather, yeah.
And somebody from Wizards has actually posted some backstory on this card.
Oh.
So, art director Jeremy Cranford received a ton of fan outrage when he decided to stop commissioning Rebecca Guay to do artwork, because apparently her art didn't fit into his vision for Magic the Gathering.
Sacrilege.
A lot of the outburst was over her being quote-unquote fired. WotC, in addition to clarifying the stance, she wasn't fired, they just stopped commissioning her. They also paid her to do the unhinged card, Persecuted Artist. Or Persecute Artist, sorry.
That's amazing.
Right.
Choose an artist other than Rebecca Guay. Target player reveals his or her hand and discards all non-land
Oh, that
cards
suddenly makes
by the
sense.
chosen artist.
That's amazing.
Wow.
The torches and pitchforks were no match for Rebecca's fans.
Wow.
That's really cool.
I can't... there's so much to work with. If
And
they go this direction, just look at the subreddit. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
The credit line, which of course was special for all of the unhinged cards, is Rebecca, don't mess with me, Guay.
That's awesome. Next up, we have Moniker Mage, which is 2 and a blue for a human wizard. It's a 2/2.
She's printing vanity plates.
She's buying one.
Yeah, for Jaya.
Yeah. For a blue and say your middle name, Moniker Mage can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. For a blue and say an opponent's middle name, Moniker Mage gains flying until end of
Oh,
turn.
that's tricky.
Ronald, Squee, Donald, Karn, Cocos, Jimmy. I like that there's just a donkey.
Hey,
in the
why is there
background.
no Urza? Why are you sold out of Urzas?
Oh, this is great.
Found Ursa was not sufficiently popular.
Oh.
Duh.
Oh.
I love duh. So single black mana for duh, which is an instant. Destroy target creature with reminder text. And then the reminder text says, reminder text is any italicized text in parentheses that explains rules you already know.
Yeah.
And the art is the creature being crushed by parentheses.
Electric parentheses.
As the flavor text, which is a post-it note, says, will players understand that the creature is being crushed by 2 parentheses? And the response, not a chance.
Electric parentheses.
I just love that there's reminder text to explain what reminder text is.
That could be really strong.
And of course, this was always going to come up in a set with donkeys. Dumbass is a 2 and a red for a donkey barbarian, a 3.5/2. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, target opponent chooses whether dumbass attacks this turn.
Nice.
Envying the intelligence of goblins is a bad place to be.
Is that snot all over it? Ew.
No, it's butterflies.
Oh,
The green stuff?
Yeah, they're little butterflies.
That's very weird.
strange.
And
I wonder if
because the donkey's distracted.
I wonder if the blue one is a smart ass.
Probably.
Laughing Hyena is next. It's 1 and a green for a 2/2. With Gotcha, whenever an opponent laughs, you may say Gotcha. If you do, return Laughing Hyena from your graveyard to your hand.
That seems pretty strong, actually.
I just love that the donkeys are not impressed that the hyena is laughing at them.
I'm given to understand that this set makes a great addition to certain types of cube. Because they can be really fun.
Yeah. Working Stiff is next. It's 1 and a black for
Mummy.
a 2/2 mummy. Not a lot of mummies in Magic. As Working Stiff comes into play, straighten your arms. When you bend an elbow, sacrifice Working Stiff.
Oh, does your nose itch?
This is pretty great. Symbol status, 2 green for a sorcery. Put a 1/1 colorless expansion symbol creature token into play for each different expansion symbol among permanents you control.
That's pretty great. Also, there's Oh, they're all having so much fun.
Yeah.
Everyone break into teams. Weaponry, you're with me. Nature group, meet by the palm tree. Stoneworks and metalworks, follow the anvil. Everyone else gather around the giant V, says the Sword of Caldra.
That's really funny.
Visions, Fallen Empires.
There's a Mercadian Mask.
Torment?
Yeah.
5th edition?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I actually
the
do
thing
have
is Vision.
Alliances.
Wait, I have a list of all the
Visions.
ones here. Do you,
Oh,
do you
okay.
want to try yourself?
I always forget what the Urza's power armor is.
Invasion?
Is that invasion?
I don't know.
Or is that even Urza's power armor? It's just like this weird four-legged spider thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's the power armor, but I think that's invasion. I think it's invasion masks one of the Urzas. I can never keep them
That's
straight.
Destiny. Alliances is the
Torment.
banner. Torment is the
The dragon head.
yeah.
And then
Visions.
And the dark is
Right.
the moon.
Yeah.
Visions.
Oh, and yeah, in the
Oh,
dark.
the dark
and
is the moon. I didn't even realize. And then
and
the
Fallen Empires
Fallen
in the
Empires in the
front.
front. Yeah, and yeah.
Well-
how we do?
Pretty good. It was Onslaught
Oh, okay.
is the little spider thing.
Right.
And in the flavor text, it mentions a palm tree, which is Mirage.
Oh,
The anvil is, of course,
That's
Antiquities.
Antiquities, yeah.
And the giant V is, of course, Visions,
Visions.
again.
And
Which is in the frame.
And the Sword of Caldra is Mirrodin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our last uncommon is Gluteus Maximus. 3 green for a 5/5. As Gluteus Maximus comes into play, an opponent chooses one of your fingers. Reminder text, thumbs are fingers. When the chosen finger isn't touching Gluteus Maximus, sacrifice Gluteus Maximus.
he's a 5/5, but his power toughness has been moved to his thigh.
He's ripping the card apart, too.
Damn. Pretty beef.
Very strange. Next is the basic land, which is this beautiful mountain.
Ooh.
Oh, man. This.
All these John Avon lands are so
I really
nice.
like these lands a lot.
They're also like the if you're looking for value, they're the best reason to buy unhinged. And our rare is Collector Protector. 2 white for a 2/5 human gamer.
That's 3 white.
Sorry, 3 white for a 2/5 human gamer. For a single white, give an opponent a non-land card you own from outside the game. Prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to you or Collector Protector this turn.
Dag.
Here, have a mud hole.
Here, have this basic.
Non-land.
Oh! Here, have this razor boomerang.
I've got so much draft trash at home, though.
You just
Yeah.
bring this big
You could
stack.
prevent so much damage with Collector Protector. Goodness me.
Well,
So,
Eternal Masters?
unhinged. No.
Oh,
Spoilers.
yes.
Spoilers.
Right.
Eldritch Moon.
Eldritch Moon spoilers.
EMN, not EMA.
Oh, boy.
It is
This
EMN,
is-
isn't it?
By the way,
Yes.
that's Mudhole.
Nice.
Target player removes all land cards in his or her graveyard from the game. Wow. That was a
fuck.
rare? Why?
Dude, no.
Okay.
So we can all breathe a sigh of relief because the big spoiler about it's like, oh, is the big thing Emrakul? It's yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've really come around on a lot
Yeah.
of people. I think, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the letdown or backlash for it being Emrakul was that people figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so now it's the obvious solution.
Yeah.
My impression was that people just like didn't like the Return to Zendikar.
Yeah.
Block.
People didn't like Battle for Zendikar, and therefore the Eldrazi are bad. is the
Yeah,
impression
like
I got.
I overheard that conversation at YJ saying that like the Eldrazi are boring, and I'm like, I don't actually know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
Like,
but sure.
The other thing is that I've seen that people like Innistrad so much,
Yeah, they don't want it wrecked.
they're afraid that the Eldrazi are just going to come and knock everything
yeah,
over.
Well, there's
I think
certainly-
that's a valid
And
concern.
then we won't be
actually.
able to go back to Innistrad again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it'll be all destroyed.
Well,
Kind of
there's-
like what happened to Zendikar.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to be. It really seems like, and I believe Mark Rosewater's confirmed this, that while there will be obviously some Eldrazi creatures, that it's not going to be just another Eldrazi set. That
Yes.
it's much
Yeah.
more like
They're
Emrakul
incidental.
warping the existing things.
He has confirmed that there is no devoid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no devoid mechanic. There's it's not a battle cruiser set. Like it's not designed to resolve giant creatures. You know, it's a.
In that sense, we might get some Eldrazi that people actually like. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, I could see they've done a really good job of selling me on this. Like
Yeah.
I've talked before months ago about how I didn't really want Emrakul to be here because I didn't really want the like very distinct gothic horror of Innistrad to be butted up against the cosmic horror of the Eldrazi. And they've sold me on it. I think they've done a really good job in the what they're now calling Magic Story.
Yeah.
Of making Emrakul a really interesting threat in this block and making her jive well with the feel of Innistrad.
Well, yeah, it's like, I mean, the Lovecraft parallels are pretty clear, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Just
And
like
I think they're actually much more clear here than they ever were in Zendikar.
Yeah.
I actually think this is much more at home in Innistrad than it was on Zendikar.
Yeah, and Emrakul specifically. I mean, Ulamog and Kozilek are a lot more just sort of mindless eating machines. And Emrakul, certainly with this card and the way that Emrakul's influence has been warping Innistrad, comes across much more like getting in your head.
Yeah.
Changing.
Also, just like talk about a long con. It's like one Eldrazi conspicuously absent from this entire set. Where did she go? Oh, a different set.
Well, like, and
I think that's really cool.
It is cool.
And in the stories, like, I mean, back during Battle for Zendikar, right, you would have, like, stories with Gideon where he can see, like, Ulamog on the horizon and be like, oh, there's Ulamog, it's coming, right? And you have the same thing in Innistrad where Jace and Tamio see Emrakul on the horizon, and Jace, like, just goes, like, bibbledy over it, right? Like,
He's like,
Emrakul is being established as being very different from the other two Titans. Like, early and often. And it works well here. Also, I really love the set symbol is like a mashing together of Emrakul and Liliana's headdress.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah,
I think
the chain veil.
It's not the chain veil.
not the
It's
chain
the one
veil.
she took from the Archangel.
Right. So, here's the card. This was the first card revealed. Emrakul, the Promised End, is a 13/13 for 13. So it passes
They've
the
come
vanilla
back to
test.
the
Sounds great. Let's move on.
Donkey. Okay, got you.
Next card.
Aw.
So, Emrakul, of course, does have text. Legendary creature, Eldrazi. Emrakul, the Promised End, costs one less for each card type among cards in your graveyard.
So you want to get your Bitter Blossom in your bin. Or
This serves-
just play that Tarfire.
This serves two purposes. One, it makes it easier, from a mechanical perspective, makes it easier to cast in a set that is not designed to cast giant creatures.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be able to, I'm talking about limited here, you shouldn't be able to get up to 13 mana in a normal game of limited. But you might be able to hit 9,
Yeah.
you know? And from a flavor perspective, the madness, the delirium that we have seen in Shadows over Innistrad now directly fuels Emrakul's appearance.
Yeah, which I love.
So good.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that's pretty cool.
It's got flying and trample and protection from instants,
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's good.
it's real good.
They can't instant speed get rid of it.
Like, protection from instants I really like because it's also just kind of weird.
Yeah, that's very unusual.
Yeah. Also, like, I guess it jives with Emrakul's flavor as being kind of having some relationship with time, right? Like things that occur, you can't outspeed Emrakul.
Speaking of relationship to time, when you cast Emrakul, you gain control of target opponent during their next turn. And then after that turn, they get another turn. So what basically happens is that another turn of the game gets inserted
Yeah.
Yeah.
between your turn and their turn, and during which you get to control your opponent.
Which is also just like this flavor, like dunk,
Yeah.
right? Like it's so good. Like you cast Emrakul, she shows up, and you have this nightmare where everything goes wrong, and then you come back and you're ruined.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
Sorry, was this all your stuff? I broke it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
so
broke
you're-
it actually.
So you can't attack right away, but you get to take your opponent's turn, waste their sorcery speed removal on one of their own creatures, discard stuff without paying their madness
Make bad
cost.
attacks
Yeah.
and block them
Yeah.
with this 13/13.
With
Yeah.
13/13.
Well, and it like the first story we got in the Shadows over Innistrad block on Magic Story was all these people like, you know, waking up after having these horrible nightmares in which they'd like murdered their families or, you know, done all this awful stuff and waking up and finding that it's true. right? It's right there. It's so good. It's sweet.
Emrakul
it's totally sweet.
Yeah, I think this is fantastic. Really excited about it. There've been what's up, Paul?
I was just maybe I don't know if this has been answered, but interesting rules question. If you're in a multiplayer game, say a 4-player game, you're going around the table clockwise or counterclockwise or whatever, and you do this. Take control of a person who isn't going next.
Yeah.
So you take control of the person who's going to be going in like 2 turns. Get to do something in their stuff. That ends. Do they then go out of order?
Yeah, because it says after that turn, that player takes another turn.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's right there on the card. It says you gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn.
Okay, right.
So it'd be like, all right, I pass the turn, Dave goes, then I take control of whoever's turn. Then after that turn, they get another turn.
Right.
Yeah, so it just gets
And then
inserted.
it loops back around. I don't know.
And then,
That's
then
weird.
the turn keeps going.
So that could actually, in certain weird edge cases, that could actually benefit the person you're taking the control of, because they get a turn earlier than they would otherwise.
No. It's during that player's next turn. It doesn't immediately.
That's the wording on the card I just read.
You have to go. You
During
have to wait
their
for
next
their
turn.
turn. Then you control their turn during.
Yeah, you don't.
Okay.
You don't
So
get it right away.
It doesn't jump.
No,
the
it doesn't
queue.
jump the
Oh,
order.
okay. That makes sense.
You get their turn whenever they would have their turn. Then they get a bonus turn they get to control. But in a commander game, you could take an ally's turn so that they get to go twice, right? If they're like, look, I've got this, and I don't have the mana to do it all, right? You could take their turn, do some of the stuff, then pass it back to them, and they could do the rest of the stuff. Or you could just kill them because you have Emrakul.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's target opponent.
Yeah.
Well, all players in Commander are opponents.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you could
any allying is.
For some
were you
reason, I
saying-
thought you meant 2HG.
Oh no.
No.
No, ally in the
In the temporary
in
sense.
the temporary
In
sense.
the
yeah.
political sense, yeah.
Also, like
Especially
the
since if you have Emrakul, the alliance is going to be temporary.
Yeah.
yeah, like the art is also great, right? Like because when I saw the spoiled, I was like, oh, it's a real big thing, right? And then I saw the entire spoiled artwork for it because it's like a Planeswalker card in that it extends all the way to the bottom. That is, I'm assuming, the capital of Innistrad.
Tranmere?
Gavany? No,
Not Gavany.
What are all the places? Thraben?
Thraben. I'm assuming it's Thraben.
One of those places.
But it's a bunch of townspeople on the left, and then a bunch of disfigured Eldrazi
they're like,
townspeople on the right.
Yeah.
Doing
the
Going
having a
bumper
scrap.
cars.
Also,
Yeah.
it makes Emrakul look even larger and scarier when you appreciate the full art.
Scale humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
it's
really
good. It's good. I love this card.
Noah Bradley tweeted a link to the spoiler saying like, "This is why you give Jamie Jones the important art."
Yeah.
So really, really sweet.
We got 3 other ones.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I guess actually, let's directly related to Emrakul. Let's take a look at Coax from the Blind Eternities, which of course is where the Eldrazi live. So it's 2 and a blue for a sorcery. You may choose an Eldrazi card you own from outside the game or in exile. Reveal that card and put it into your hand.
So, brief aside about what outside the game means. In a tournament, outside the game means your sideboard.
Yep.
In casual and kitchen table, it means any card you own in your collection.
Yep. And so it's also in exile. I like that if they can finally figure out a way to exile your Emrakul, you can just get it back.
Yeah, like if they O-ring Emrakul.
Yeah.
Right, which I think O-ringing old Emrakul was one of the only ways to get rid of her.
It's worthwhile to note that this is the first time an Eldrazi... Is this the first time an Eldrazi Titan has shown up without a anti-dredge clause on it?
Yes.
No. The
There's
other
been
one.
others.
Yeah,
Well,
both
the-
Ulamog
It-
and Kozilek.
And it that betrays.
Well, no, one of the
Oh,
Titans, though.
okay.
Well,
okay. So
the new
they-
ones in Battle for Zendikar and Oath of the Gatewatch, they don't have the
So they've decided to drop that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
so they can be reanimated. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just sort of interesting. It's sort of like a wish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited because this confirms for me that there's going to be an Eldrazi card with Storm on it, because that's what you use wish cards to do, is to go and get your Storm payload and increase your Storm count by 1. So there's going to be an Eldrazi. I assume it puts Titans on the board with Storm.
Here's what you do: is you just ritual out 13 mana and then just hard cast. Anyway.
So Coax from the Blind Eternities is a card. I don't know what much to say about it, really.
I mean, like, it's exactly what you kind of, like, yeah, okay, there was Call the Gatewatch.
Yeah.
From Oath of the Gatewatch, and now we have Coax from the Blind Eternities. Sure, it's a card.
Yeah.
Also, Paul, you were asking earlier about reanimating Eldrazi Titans and how the new ones don't have the no reanimation clause. The way they hedge against them being cheated into play is that they only get their special ability when they are cast.
Yeah.
Which means you still get...
You still get a dirty big creature, but you don't get, like, for...
it's like Cascade.
You don't get to draw back up to 7 unless you cast him.
Yeah,
like
and that also is a hedge against countering them, right? Because when you cast them, Ulamog exiles 2 things, even if it is countered.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's why Maelstrom Wanderer is not a suitable reanimator target, because even though it cascades twice for, 8 mana?
Yeah, Cascade triggers when
Yeah,
cast.
it's only when you cast it, so...
So next up, let's look at Ulrich. Or Ulrich, what's his name?
Urlik.
Ulrich of the Krallen Horde.
Hey, buddy.
So this guy's sweet. So 3/3, red-green for a 4/4, legendary human werewolf. And whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms into Ulrich of the Krallen Horde, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. So it's a 4/4 for 5. When it lands, a creature gets +4/+4, or when it turns back into human guy, creature gets +4/+4. Very strong. The most important part of this is that Ulrich is a red-green legendary werewolf. So now, Commander players who were clamoring for a legendary werewolf, myself included, can now make a werewolf commander deck with a flavorful leader.
See, and
what's
like
the flip side?
I'll tell you in a moment.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Okay. So the flip side is Ulrich Uncontested Alpha, who is a 6/6, and whenever it transforms into Uncontested Alpha, you may have it fight target non-werewolf creature you don't control. So it just gets to punch something right out.
Whiff.
Now, I know that... Okay, so in a vacuum, this card is sweet. Just on power level. Because it has the normal werewolf flip ability. If spells weren't cast, it flips. If 2 spells were cast by 1 player, it flips back. And it's a legendary werewolf, which people were wanting. It is not a werewolf lord.
Yeah.
Which has disappointed some people. I think that they felt that the implication of having a legendary werewolf was that it would also like interact with and buff all werewolves, sort of like how Gaia Reach Bandit on its flip side says when a human werewolf enters the battlefield under your control, you transform it right away.
Yeah. See, and I like that this guy doesn't do that. Because I think one of the interesting parts of the werewolf deck is that they flip.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not, this is my guess, is that design didn't want to make what would be the go-to werewolf commander make werewolves not flip.
Yeah.
And make them, less werewolfy. Especially considering there's kind of a card that already fills that role, which is the guy that blows you up when you cast a spell from the Gruul guy from the latest Ravnica set.
Oh, Rurikthar.
Yeah, Rurikthar.
So,
I mean, I always liked, Mare of Averbrook / Howlpack Alpha was the old one.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's not legendary, so he can't be a commander.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
and he's
but
also...
he did the thing where when he was in human form, he helped all humans. When he was in werewolf form, he helped all werewolves.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a nice combo.
But there's 2 enchantments now that buff all the wolves. They're you don't need a lord. If you want commander, you just need the legendary. If you want to go full flavor with commander, you just need the legendary werewolf creature. And this guy's sweet. I think he's a cool creature. Yes, he doesn't interact crazily with all the other werewolves, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he'll remove a blocker when he flips, or he buffs your team when he enters the battlefield.
Yeah.
Right? I think those are both relevant abilities.
And one more card before we look at it. One more card has been spoiled, but before we look at it, I love this and I want to read it. I want to read this to you. This is so they've been doing this thing, the Hanweir Chronicle, which is the newspaper from the township of Hanweir.
Oh yeah.
And they've been releasing stories and articles from the Hanweir Chronicle for months, since before Shadows of Innistrad came out.
Nice.
And they've been getting stranger.
Is the one from today just like a blood-soaked rag?
We'll get to that.
I'll tell you the one from today.
But
there was the one where they were gonna the editorial team was gonna start foregoing bylines, and it was all just gonna be written by the Hanweir Chronicle. And then this is the big one on the day that this next card got spoiled. I love this. Help! It is most sublime. Glorious convergence is upon us, praise ourselves, praise we. Oliver, is there anything you would like to say? Yes, hello, it is me. I am here, please, I am still here. We are present now. We are so happy we could all be here together at last. Together, praise us, praise ourselves, praise we. Everything feels at once boundless, sensory, slithering ecstasy. My faithful reader, I am here. Please remember my name from before, because we will not allow me to retain it. All is each other, and it is most rapturous indeed, and at last we will never be left alone. Praise us. Let whoever reads this know, I may be gone, but we are tremendously alive. Because something dark happened in Hanweir.
Oh yeah.
they made a Katamari.
The rather jokey follow-up is, we are having difficulty operating a single pen. Because the card that we have here is Hanweir the Writhing Township.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's a 7/4 legendary creature, Eldrazi Ooze, with Trample and Haste. Okay, 7/4 Trample Haste.
That's big.
Whenever it attacks, put 2 3/2 Eldrazi horror creature tokens onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking.
Hey, Graham.
There is no sacrifice them at the end of turn clause.
What's 7 + 3 + 3?
13.
Yep.
Yep.
My fragile little mind has been blown.
Du-du-du-du-du-du.
I like how this card has haste.
Yeah.
Because that implies to me how it gets used, right? It's like Westvale Abbey, how Ormenthal has haste.
So this is
Because you can just slam it,
Oh, yeah!
transform, and like Kool-Aid Man into the other man.
So this is what's super interesting. So can you switch back to Uncontested Alpha for a second? So when you look at the transform cards, there's an icon in the upper left that on all the transform cards thus far has been the moon.
Yeah, sun and a moon.
Yeah, it's the sun and the moon, and it's the day and night, and that's to remind you sort of which side of the card's which. On Hanweir the Writhing Township, if we can go back to that, the symbol is Emrakul.
The Eldritch Moon.
Okay.
But also, this is different. It's a transform card that is different in some way. And we don't know what the front side of this is.
Yeah,
so
'cause-
something turns into Hanweir, but we have no idea what.
Yeah.
We know that it's not a land, which is weird.
Yeah, because
There's speculation because of the collector's number, but
the speculation or the number crunching is that this is probably a green card, which
maybe a
fits
green
with,
enchantment.
Yeah,
So like, or a group of people.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
yeah. Because I remember like the Hanweir Chronicle starting off with they were building a wall around Hanweir.
Yeah, they're like, you know what? We're just closing ourselves off.
Yeah, and it didn't have any gates.
We're
And I
gonna be
remember
an
there was one
independent
article
state.
about how they were like having to import and stock up a bunch of food because there were no gates in the wall that they had built.
Why did we do that?
Because we're afraid.
Yeah, it's to protect ourselves.
I just love that this punctuationless paragraph of Oliver, is there anything you would like to say? Yes, hello, it is me. Is the I am here. Please remember my name from before, because we will not allow me to retain it. That's terrifying.
You know what
That's
I'm seeing?
terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like the interior of a room with all the walls warped, and then just like most of a human torso and an arm reaching down from this like pseudopod with the pen.
Yeah.
Just like.
We are
Or a second arm like trying to stabilize it.
Yeah.
we are having difficulty operating a single pen.
There's another line from the Henwheel Chronicle that I saw somebody quoting that I quite like is, "A rider has been sent to Theraben to report of the Hamlet's departure from the province."
It's like, fuck it.
Later.
And head councilman Reid asserted in his closing statement that as a community, we must come together.
Oh, this whole thing
I just want to see this
beautiful.
turbo left to right and rumbling slum is just like,
Thumbs up.
you do you, buddy.
Oh, rumbling slum.
When the town council gets together just right.
Oh, wow.
Also, I've seen reference to this guy, the Hamlet back Goliath,
Right.
who's apparently
He just has a village.
a giant with a village on his back.
Huh.
Nice.
Well, and also like Turtle.
Turtle.
Oh, yeah.
Who had, like,
the
the little-
meandering tower shop.
Yeah, who had the towers on its back.
That's a slow guy.
But yeah, no, I'm glad to see we're getting more manlands.
It is a creature land, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
only a name, but yeah.
Eldrazi ooze.
This is fun. This is a lot of fun. I enjoy this a
super
lot.
fun. The full art for this card as well. There's a boy. You can sort of see him there.
Yeah, he's just in the
He's just
foreground
standing
doing
in
like,
the field. No, he's just standing there watching. Like,
Yeah, it's like-
whoa.
Hey, that's some shit.
like, fuck. Just sort of like turns around and like walks sort of unsteadily away.
Yeah.
By the way,
leaves the country.
Someone remind me in a couple months that the nickname for this card is Hanweir's Moving Castle.
It really does look like it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, those are the.
I've also seen Howl's moving. So
Yeah.
I guess you could say Howl's Writhing Castle.
Yeah.
That also works. I think I like Hanweir's Moving Castle better. So yeah, those are the first 4 cards released from Eldritch Moon. Sorry. It's currently the 24th, so I don't know if this episode will be up before our spoiler card, but we do have a spoiler card.
Oh boy.
That is on the 30th, so probably
You'll
the
love it.
night of the 29th. So I guess actually that will probably be up before this. But anyway, CSL, the Community Super League. We have finished the 9 weeks of regulation play, and the finals is coming up, and it is, I haven't actually looked at the final standings, but I'm pretty positive that it is Kenji and Palcheon and Gabby, because we did not, we were unable to defeat Gabby in Pauper. It was close. Game 3 was, I guess, maybe a loose keep in retrospect, but at the time it seemed fine.
I hear Gary's a good card.
Gary's a very, very good card. But let's rewind to week 7. Thanks, Paul. To week 7.
Hateful.
Wow.
Where it was the Iron Root Chef. So we had to draft these build-arounds. And we got, the community voted on what cards, no, that was the Brewers Challenge. This was cards that Nate Holt, the wizard, selected for us to build around, and there was 5 cards, and the way that it would work is that you would two people would build around the same card, and you wouldn't play against that person, but you would be up against them in a head-to-head brewmaster vote that was also worth a match point. And because on that week, we and Kenji were in the number 1 and 2 spot, we got the last picks. And so both us and Kenji ended up with Lich's Mirror.
Yeah.
Which is a card from Shards of Alara?
Yes.
Okay. And it's I want to say a 5-mana artifact. I assume we're going to get Lich's Mirror up in a moment. Because the Lich uses their phylactery, they have their little place where they store their soul. And it says, if you would, 5-mana artifact, if you would lose the game, then instead you shuffle your graveyard and all your permanents into your library, and then you draw 7 cards and your life total becomes 20.
So you can't lose.
You don't lose then, but...
Yeah, the problem is all of your cards go back. Like, if your opponent hits you with like a 5/5 and puts you to 0, then everything you have goes away, and they still have all of their stuff and their 5/5.
Can't lose.
So the point was we were supposed to build a deck that could feasibly win a game of Magic, and also the flavor was important, right? Because this is the Iron Root Chef. And so the direction that we went was that we were the Lich.
The Lich,
Because we thought, knowing how Nate likes to do this from the Community Cups, is that if there's one thing that the Wizard frowns upon, is going into Gatherer and doing a keyword search. So if you go on there and you're like, Liches, huh? Okay, let's get a Lich. Let's get a Lich's Tomb. Let's get a couple Liches in here. And there we go. Done. It's a Lich deck. We knew that would go over poorly.
Yeah.
So this was the confusing part, is that the Wizards' scores actually didn't have any major bearing that week. Because every week we've been doing a Brewmaster vote, which is like a separate. There's separate prizes for Brewmaster as opposed to the match wins.
Right.
So on that week, the Wizard was doing the Brewmaster votes, and the audience was voting for which of the two, in this case, Lich's Mirror decks they liked more, and whichever one got more votes got another match win.
Right.
So we had to try to beat the Professor in actual gameplay, and we were up against Kenji in brewing.
Right.
And yeah, Kenji's deck was sweet.
Yeah,
it went off, which, as we've shown traditionally in previous CSL, helps audience voting a lot.
Yeah,
if your deck gets to really cook off, people like that.
Yeah.
I thought our deck was actually better from a flavor perspective.
I mean, yeah.
But
I did most of the brewing on it, and I wanted to do this thing where we had like this army of undead that represented kind of like all of our old servants, and
because your logic being that a Lich wouldn't have anyone under their employ smarter than it.
Yeah, or that could in any way threaten it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it would want to keep away everything that would have any kind of spark of intelligence, and just keep like around kind of like this army of protectors that also provided it some way of winning the game. My earlier thought on it had been that, like, Lich's Mirror is an artifact. And so maybe we have like an artifact sub-theme where we have things like Grand Architect, maybe, and then like a Lich or a zombie Vidalcan that represented, what happened to the people who helped us make this thing.
Right.
And then that started, like, I was like, that's kind of cool, but it's not mono black, right? And maybe the Wizard won't like that if we start delving into other colors, because a Lich is supposed to be like, it's the undead. It is the primary undead.
Yeah.
And maybe he wouldn't like it if we weren't just in mono black. But yeah, I wound up like kind of vacillating a lot on what to do, and I settled on this, which got a reasonable score.
Yeah.
Right.
The other win condition was Mortal Kombat, which we set the humans against themselves.
Yeah.
Which is you win the game if you have 20 creatures in your graveyard.
Which I also thought was like.
And we had exactly 20 creatures in the deck.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if we go through our entire deck, right?
Yeah. Then we can win with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, we weren't able to get there. We might have been able to pull out one of the games. We won the first game against the Prof by cooking off beautifully with Empty the Pits.
Yeah.
We might have been able to win the second game if we'd been a little more cutthroat, because we were just sort of having a goof.
Yeah.
But game 3
having a giggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were having a
Having a
giggle.
laugh.
Yeah, but game 3 we weren't able to get there, and we lost the Brewmaster standings to Kenji. So that wasn't a great week. The next week was Canadian Highlander.
Hi.
Or Highlander, as we call it here. And obviously we got Alex to assist with that one.
That was fun.
That was fun, because we had to make a good showing for that. Because
yeah, and I mean, like, it's
our thing.
What do you even show from Highlander? It's such a broad format. I think we were under a little bit of pressure to Jund him out, but someone else had already done Jund aggro.
No, we picked ours first.
Did you?
Yeah. We picked Jund Goblins before Gabby chose Jund aggro.
But yeah,
Randy said as long as she didn't go into goblins, it was okay.
but we did, and we got there because Aaron Forsyth sandbagged his wrath way too long.
His toxic deluge?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So there's a bunch of stuff that we didn't really get to show off, but like the Highlander Goblins deck is pretty phenomenal.
It's very good. It's
and not super expensive to put together.
It's one of the cheapest, very effective, and surprisingly interesting to play decks because it's not like mono red.
No,
it's partly like mono red.
It's
because,
not as linear as you would think.
Yeah, because like I think that the cheapest deck to buy into in like actually any format is just mono red. You just play, every lightning bolt ever printed, and you just burn them to death. Goblins is similar in that you play a whole bunch of low drop creatures and then just swarm in, but it's way more synergy based, and it can win through things that conventional sort of aggro decks can't. Like, I mean, depending on your build. Did we actually play a version with Goblin Bombardment in it? I don't know if we did.
No, it didn't actually have bombardment.
I mean, there's different ways you can do it, but
Yeah.
like it can play more like a combo deck sometimes, where suddenly in the space of 2 or 3 turns, it goes from a couple goblins to infinity goblins almost.
Well, yeah, like Krenko really can get away from you.
Krenko's a big deal.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of how good Krenko is, he started showing up as a one of in like Legacy goblins.
Right.
Krenko, by the way, it's Krenko Goblin Mob Boss, I think, or just Mob Boss. 2 red, so the 4-drop goblin. So you're asking.
It's pretty big.
You're
That's a
asking
lot
of the goblin
That's
deck.
a lot of mana.
But you tap him to put X 1/1 goblins into play, where X is the number of goblins you already control.
Whoopsie.
Which, if you
He counts himself.
He counts himself. Which, if you have any of the goblin lords that give all your goblins haste,
Yeah.
or +1/+1, but haste specifically is real scary.
Yeah, playing this
Because
guy.
then you can play Krenko, tap him immediately, get a bunch of 1/1s with haste, and just smash. Now, we were playing Jund Goblins because we wanted to Jund them out.
Yeah.
What were the advantages? Like, what do we get out of doing Jund Goblins over Mono Red?
There's like a little bit more flexibility. Like you get to play stuff like, I'm trying to remember what's in the list now.
Earwig Squad.
Yeah, Earwig Squad.
Earwig
which
Squad
is-
seems brutal.
It's very good. Like Earwig Squad is actually pretty clutch as a card in Goblins because one of the things that, I think a lot of aggro decks and sort of similar lists struggle with is, combo, right? Where it's just like, I have no way to deal with this player going off unless you hit him with the Earwig Squad.
In Highlander, when everyone's dealing, because it's singleton, so you only have 1 copy of each card. What you do is you attack them on turn 3. You get a goblin through. You deal combat damage to the player with a goblin. That's what you have to do. Then you can cast Earwig Squad for its prowl cost, which is 2 and a black. So you're already getting a 5/3 for 3.
That's pretty sweet.
On turn 3. That's pretty great. But when Earwig Squad enters the battlefield, if its prowl cost was paid, you search your opponent's library, you pick 3 cards, and you just exile them.
Yeah, you sad sack them.
So you completely denude a combo. Like you
Yeah,
just
it's
take
just
their, like you're facing
take-
Storm, you just take their payload.
Yeah, it's just like I'll take this Tendrils, or I'll take this Time Vault, or I'll take this
Like Doomsday.
Doomsday, or what have you.
Or-
Like there's some
Yeah,
there's
Lab
some,
Maniac.
Yeah, there's some decks where you can actually just break their teeth, and then it's like they cannot win.
Yeah.
That like it's just GG.
We almost got to Earwig Squad, Aaron Forsyth.
Yeah.
but we weren't quite able to.
so close.
So close.
So close. But yeah, it's a good one. You get 1 additional very good lord in Mad Ante. You get to play
Wart.
Wart's good, yeah, and the Black Red X guy is very good. I'm told.
From Conspiracy.
Grenzo.
Yeah, Grenzo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also Fire Covenant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a combo actually.
Yeah.
Fire Covenant. Okay. Fire Covenant. 1 black red, instant. Pay X life. Deal X damage divided as you choose among any number of creatures. Already really really good because you just wrath your opponent. It's like it's a one-sided wrath effect.
Yeah.
There is a combo with this card in this deck where you play Mog Maniac that states whenever it suffers damage, that damage is reflected to your opponent. So you just channel Fireball them with this. You just dump your life total -1 into
Fire Covenant.
into Fire Covenant,
Hit the
target
Maniac.
and then just dome them.
So that's pretty great.
So.
And honestly, the card that impressed me hugely, because it has so much text that people forget about, is Legion Loyalist.
Oh my god!
yeah.
This guy's
that guy's
amazing.
an MVP.
He's a 1/1 for 1 goblin with haste. But he has Battalion, which was the gatecrash mechanic, which is whenever he attacks with 3 creatures, whenever you have 3 creatures attacking, all your creatures gain first strike and trample, which is really important. People either forget the trample or they forget
Oh, but wait, there's more.
that they can't be blocked by tokens.
That one's so huge.
That one's backbreaking.
It's really harsh.
What ended up winning us the game though was that Aaron forgot about the trample.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Because we had Goblin Pile Driver. We were attacking with like 5
it's
goblins.
like chump pile driver. It's like trample.
Pile Driver was like 8 power or something. We hit for exactly lethal, and we would have died the next turn.
Yep. But yeah, this guy's good. Goblins is a sweet deck, and
Yeah.
like I said, if you're thinking about Highlander, it's a pretty easy one to get into. Have we posted our list? The mono red version is by far the least expensive. There's not very many cards that cost a lot.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of
And
important cards that
and
you
it's
you
not
wanna
like
play.
Commander, so even in the mono red version, you can still play Boggart Ram Gang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It just costs red.
Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Oh right, sorry. Green in this deck, I'm just remembering, gets us stuff like Tin Street Hooligan,
Oh, right.
which is important.
And Deathrite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Death
honor-
Ray, which
yeah,
is
there's-
just like
Deathrite Goblin.
yeah,
Honorary goblin.
Honorary goblin. There are honorary goblins.
Yeah. Again, this is a competitive format. You're not hampered by flavor.
Yeah, also
You
just
run DRT
also is
or DRS.
Imperial Recruiter an honorary goblin?
Yes. Yep.
a lot of the
Okay.
time. I don't know
Imperial
if we
Recruiter-
played him.
Yeah, we did. And
Bob sometimes?
Mogcatcher.
Oh yeah, Mogcatcher is 100% an honorary goblin because
Right.
it finds goblins.
Right.
Mogcatcher is so stupid.
Yeah, Imperial Recruiter is a 1/1 for 2 and a red. When it comes into play, you search your library for a creature card with
Power.
with power no greater than 2.
Not CMC, power.
Yeah.
So it
that's
finds
good.
pretty much any lord. It can find the other recruiter, Goblin Recruiter,
Right.
which is even more powerful than this one. But it's a sweet, fun, synergistic aggro-y deck, and you just crash in.
Someone in the chat got very mad about our use of Goblin Recruiter, if you recall.
Oh my god! Okay, so can I just say,
we watched the replay.
the number of people going mental over us not knowing what we're doing, coming from people who've never played this format.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we played Goblin Recruiter, and I found
So it's
a
one-
modest little stack.
It's 1 and a red for a 1/1. When it comes into play, you search your library for any number of goblins, order them however you want, and put them on top of your library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who was it who was saying that like there's no reason to not stack your entire deck?
Yeah.
I was like, no,
That's not true.
that's stupid. And also, I don't want to go to time.
the guy
Yeah.
the guy who built this deck doesn't even stack more than like 8 at a time.
Yeah, he will sometimes go like I think the most he'll ever go is like 12.
Yeah.
If he's like really going ham. There like I think I may have messed up my stack a little bit because
maybe.
we had, and we also just got disrupted a bit. So
Yeah.
it's like
we picked 5 goblins, one of which was Ringleader. We put Ringleader on the top. So then we draw Ringleader and play Ringleader, which is look at the top 4 cards of your library and put all the goblins into your hand. So we just draw
4.
the top 4 cards of our library,
Yeah.
right? So
But yeah, it's like you don't have to get your entire deck and stack it because if for no other reason, that's a giant pain in the ass for everyone, and it doesn't actually really help.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I want to be picking what card I'm going to be drawing on turn 57.
also we were behind on land at that point.
Yeah, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I heard everybody at YJ was watching and losing their minds as well.
Oh, really? Like in a good way, or?
I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of the people who were in the CSL. I don't think had played this format either.
Yeah.
But they all seemed very excited about it. Like it was who was on Storm? It was
Paul.
Paul Chion.
yeah, Paul Chion. Watching him like struggle his way to going off was actually kind of delightful because he He kept almost bricking,
Yeah.
and then just somehow bumbling.
And going, oh wait, no, hang on.
Oh wait, no, I have a line now.
Yeah. Oh, and like watching Paul play into Force of Will, and what's her name from the girlfriend bracket being like,
Poker face.
yeah, no, that would be
That would be a
no, we
drag.
don't- Yeah, oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that suck?
That would be the worst.
And then the last format from this past week was Pauper, which again is P-A-U-P.
Pauper.
Pauper. Which is commons only. Specifically, a card that has been once printed at common.
At any point. So if it was printed at common and upgraded to uncommon, that doesn't matter.
So Eternal Masters is like a boon for this format.
You get to play Curd Ape now. That's nuts.
Peregrine Drake.
Yeah,
Peregrine Drake is actually
it was a big get.
because it's a 2/3 flyer for 5 that when you cast it, when it enters the battlefield, you untap 5 lands. This is actually this card's like
Is High Tide a common?
Peregrine Drake
Yes.
is actually going to be like a possible banning in Pauper. Like I mean, it's almost too good.
Well,
So,
because people were really excited about this because Cloud of Fairies was recently banned in the Familiar deck, I think, where it was like a key moving piece, and then Peregrine Drake came along as a replacement.
Well,
So
yeah. Then
free fairies.
so yeah, we were playing Metalcraft kind of. The deck was called the 36th Chamber of Jeskai, which some people thought was great, other people did not get. I feel bad for you. I'm sorry.
It's a kung fu reference.
It's also Wu-Tang.
yeah,
that too.
yeah.
Well, the Wu-Tang was referencing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like it's more likely that we were referencing the Wu-Tang Clan
That's
than
fair.
we were
Yeah.
referencing the movie that they were referencing. Anyway, so yeah, it was Metalcraft because the artifact lands are not banned. So we had 4 Ancient Den, 4 Great Furnace, Kuldotha Rebirth, which is the single red mana, sack an artifact, and get 3 1/1s. So you can theoretically turn 1 Great Furnace, sack Great Furnace, get 3 1/1s on turn 1, which is pretty good.
Yep.
It can be very aggressive, and it was a fun deck to play. It was Jeskai because we were splashing blue for Muldrifter. Because why not?
Yeah. I've seen like James and I. This was
Muldrifter was a common in Shadowmoor. Why?
I know. Like
Why?
What?
What were you thinking?
It's quite good.
Like this is a deck that James played when he was trying Pauper on Midgo, and which, I was like, I suppose it's fine. And then I played it a bit with him, and it's a deck with some really like fun lines. Core Skyfisher is really a great card in this deck. I think it makes the deck.
That's what won us our first game. It's a 2/3 flyer for 1 and a white. 2/3 flyer for 2. But the downside is when it enters the battlefield, you have to return a permanent you control to its owner's hand.
Downside.
Yeah, downside.
Yeah.
So, I mean, worst case, which we ended up doing in the first game, was just bouncing a land.
Yeah.
Right? So you just you tempo yourself, but you have a 2/3 flyer on turn 2.
Now, like one of the
You can also use the Ichor Wellspring.
Yeah, the Ichor Wellspring is a really good target to bounce. The other target that was really good in this deck when we built it the first time was Radiant Fountain, which enters the battlefield and you gain 2 life, and you can also bounce with the Karoo lands from original Ravnica block to just like kind of stabilize and gain yourself a bunch of life. But that isn't in this build. Presumably they'd been cut for better cards. I think, yeah, probably the artifact lands, which is, I mean, a much more aggressive plan. But it really impressed me. Usually I'm not terribly on board with Boros colors, but this is a deck with a lot of like really fun synergies and interactions.
Also Galvanic Blast.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because you basically always have Metalcraft
Oh
because
man,
of the lands.
Dispatch is an uncommon, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boo.
But unfortunately, we were up against Gabby's Mono Black Control, or as her deck was called, Gary Sparts.
Gary Sparts.
And
Gary.
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 Gary, the Grey Merchant of Asphodel, of course, is a 2/4 for 3 black that when it enters the battlefield, you drain your opponent, they lose life, and you gain life equal to your devotion to black. So her deck had a lot of things like Chittering Rats, which are just really irritating. They're a 2/2 for 1 black, so that's 2
Don't they plow under your
devotion.
hand?
Yeah, you have to put a card from your hand back on top of your deck. So it really, really tempos
Oh
you.
man, that is the ugliest art I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's also
Yeah.
just like gross.
On a
and
back-breaking card.
he's got like knife hands and it's awful. And the card that I was not expecting, Oubliette, I guess I forgot about it.
Oh, come
is-
on!
1 black for
you.
it's basically Oblivion Ring.
Yeah.
It's an Oblivion Ring that also retains any auras attached to the creature or counters on the creature. It's very strange. But more relevantly, it's an Oblivion Ring in mono black that has 2 black pips on it.
Yeah.
So it's very good in this deck. And it also ran Quambaj Witches.
Kumbaj witches.
Oh, yeah,
Witches.
yeah.
I think just as a
from Arabian Nights.
yeah,
right?
I think just for the
I
devotion.
hear that witches get stitches.
So it's a 1/3 for black, and then you tap to deal 1 damage to a creature, to a creature or
player.
and then it deals 1 damage to target creature or player of target opponent's choice. So,
But they
it
have
could
3
be
toughness, so
yeah, so you can't kill them with it. So it could be removal, but it's mostly just black for
a 1/3 that pings.
for a
Seems
1/3
pretty
that
good.
pings and has devotion.
I never realized that the White Witch has 6 fingers.
I only just noticed that now. I think they both do.
Oh, ew.
No, the Black Witch has 5 fingers.
Oh yeah, weird, very strange.
That is weird.
So yeah, that was a really good deck, and unfortunately, when we're doing like turn 1 Glinthawk bouncing our own Ancient Den, then it's like turn 1 Gabby plays a Swamp. We're like, all right, we're gonna go the aggressive line. On our turn 1, Ancient Den, Glinthawk, bounce the Ancient Den, and then passes back to Gabby, who goes Swamp, Chainer's Edict. It's like, well, now we have nothing.
Yeah.
Now we have nothing. So yeah, that was tough. It was a rough matchup. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I am looking forward to seeing what happens next week, though, with Gabby, Paul, and Kenji, because we don't actually know what the finals are going to look like, and I'm really looking forward to it. So
Well-
even though we won't be participating,
And even though Gabby
Sad.
eliminated us from the CSL, she is still invited,
to the
pre-release.
pre-release. Thank you. Yes.
even in spite of the fact that she ruined our dreams.
Yeah. Yep.
She can still come and play cards with
Because
us.
we are the bigger person.
Yes.
Because I mean, there's more of us. We are
Yeah,
tremendously alive.
Yeah, we
Yeah, Paul,
feel-
can we just get Rain of Salt up there?
So yeah, the pre-release, the Eldritch Moon pre-release is July 9th, live on twitch.tv/LoadingReadyRun. It is going to be ourselves and Gabby and Jimmy Wong and the Professor and Allison from Wizards, and it's going to be a really sweet time. We're going to be doing a sealed deck event with Eldritch Moon, and we're really excited about it. And you're definitely going to want to tune in and check it out.
Wait, is it Paul or no? Sorry, Paul. I thought Marshall was coming up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
that's the surprise. It's okay. We'll be.
We can cut that.
No, it will have been in a YouTube update before this goes live.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was a surprise.
No, it's okay. He's the surprise. The question marks. That'll all be explained in the YouTube update. If you're wondering why,
Awkward.
go watch the YouTube update. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us today for this, and I hope that you check out the pre-release. And as always, this is brought to you by you and your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Please check it out. We refreshed the page recently and added a new video and new information there. And you help us do all the things that we do, so we appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.